Welcome to Business Innovators Radio, featuring industry influencers and trendsetters sharing proven strategies to help you build a better life right now.
Hello and welcome to Business Innovators Radio. It's me, Luana Ribeira, and with me today I have Eli Angel. Hello, Eli. How are you?
Hello. Hi. Thank you, Luana. I'm great. Thank you so much for having me.
So awesome to have you on today. So today's show is all about how to become a master manifestor. And you are the person to go into all of this. You're the person, you're the expert, the one who knows the score, the one who's here to motivate and guide our listeners today. So, you're an expert at implementing higher consciousness technologies in everyday life to manifest your dreams. I'd love to ask you, how did it all begin?
Wow, just listening to you, it sounds like wow. Here I am years ago starting on this journey, and now, yes, I am a conscious manifestor, and it just feels so great actually to hear someone else say this. So it's awesome. So my journey started about 8 years ago, and the way it started for me, unfortunately, was in the form of an illness. So my life up until then had been a sort of life in the fast lane, as people would say. So not really thinking very much, just action. I was available for everything and everybody 24/7. But then obviously that illness yanked me out of that reality that I had created for myself. And it gave me a lot to think, Luana, in terms of how I had lived my life up until then. And obviously it raised a lot of questions, it raised a lot of emotions. And, it took me a while to realize that I had to sort of start feeling and doing things in a different way. So I didn't really come from an esoteric background. I had no knowledge about clairvoyance or clairsentience or the various other world of esoteric healing. So for me, life was very much black and white, okay, and nothing different. And please don't come and tell me anything different, because I was very dismissive, very critical of myself and critical of others. So I started off slowly to try and understand where the illness had come from. I'd gone to several doctors, loads of specialists, and bottom line, none of them actually could tell me anything of how I'd manifested that. So for anyone who's listening, what I actually went through was a blockage of the subclavian vein, which is a very rare condition. So I was really feeling at a loss, literally banging my head on the wall, trying to figure out how I got there. And then I went to see my very good friend, who's a Chinese herbalist, a very experienced one. And we went through a series of herbal treatments, and I started feeling really well. My body started sort of getting back into sync with a good digestive systems and everything else. And I started feeling more calm and relaxed. But still, I could never really get to the bottom as to why I got to that illness. And then he's the one that actually said to me, I think you need to sort of step away from traditional treatments. And I think you need to open up to the esoteric world. And I thought, okay, here we go. Okay, I'm totally lost. So he sent me a few videos about some Russian clairvoyants who supposedly had taught a series of techniques and technologies to a lot of people that were dealing with illnesses, relationship issues, anything that people were dealing with. And it sounded all very good, but then I thought, okay, what does it have to do with me? And then, at that point, I didn't really believe in building your own synchronicities and building your own path in life. I was still coming from a place where everything seemed to be coincidental. Everything seemed to be happening by luck or unluck, or was feeling, at that point, I was feeling really unlucky, okay? Because everything was happening to me in the wrong way. So I'm looking up on the internet and I see that some people who studied with this Russian clairvoyance were doing a course the next weekend in London. So I signed it up, went through 2 days of really intensive course, and came out with a lot of exercises to do and obviously a lot of information. And, I don't have to tell you that by the time I woke up on Monday morning, I had a headache, and my first thought was, this is just a bunch of fluffy stuff. It's never going to work. And then I started trying it on things like headaches, started trying it on things like heavy muscles, when you go for training, when you go for sport and you're feeling aches all over the place, problems with digestive systems. And I noticed, and I had these things recurring to me in the last years prior to going to the course. So I was sort of dealing with them on a cycle of like 3 or 4 weeks before I would start feeling better. So I was constantly feeling ill, but it was only at that point that I realized that, the problem, my physical health had not been really great. But the point is, when I started applying these technologies, that's when I got the wow factor. Things started changing and I started feeling better within 2 to 3 days. Amazing. And then I tried it with different things and I tried it with other things. And I said, okay, something is really out there. And then obviously it wasn't just a physical change that I was seeing. I started seeing changes in my well-being, in inner well-being. I gained a sense of confidence. I started feeling more grounded. And I finally started reconnected with my own inner power of doing things. That's the fundamental change that these higher consciousness technologies had with me. But it's been a long journey, and I'm a totally different person from what I was 8 years ago. There's no doubt about it. And then obviously one thing led to another. Finally, after banging my head on the walls for months, thinking, I don't know where my subclavian vein blockage came from, I finally used one of these techniques with the intent of finding out. And of all the specialists that I could have gone and see, I get sent to see a physiotherapist. She looks at me, she looks at my posture, she looks at the way my muscles are balanced or imbalanced. And then she gives me a few exercises. She says, I'll see you in a couple of weeks, see how it goes. And while she's writing her report, you know what she said to me? She said, I think we found the cause of your subclavian vein blockage. It was basically a muscle imbalance that I had created with just years of neglect, years of not taking care of my body, years of repressed emotions that went with it. Mm. That really hit me because I said, I think I understand now what the power of intuition is all about and the power of intent. And it's been a journey of growing as a person ever since. And now I live my life every day with synchronicities that I'm creating, because all I have to do now for myself and other people is say, okay, send me there. Okay, I need an answer for this. I need to find more information about this subject, and then I'm being sent. And I feel like I'm not even leading the way anymore. I feel like I'm being led. And it's an amazing state of being, because again, it's a journey and you can expand as much as you want, and you can expand in every direction. And this is really the power of these higher consciousness technologies, because fundamentally what they really are, they're technologies based on the highest frequencies that we have as human beings. They're love, happiness, and joy. It's as simple as that.
Amazing. Do you know what I like about that? You know, you had this illness, and which obviously is something that none of us want. But from that, you were able to create this huge shift inside yourself.
Yes, it was exactly as you said. It was a shift, and it was a shift really to sort of get to know myself a little bit more, but also to understand really what my body was trying to tell me, because the body, from the point of view of higher consciousness technologies, the body is just a manifestation, the external manifestation of the soul. You see, the body and the soul are not just something separate, they're interconnected. But the body itself is just the external look of the soul. So we can create it and recreate it in any way we want, because we are conscious creators of our lives. So ever since I got involved in working with higher consciousness technologies, I've known people that have come out of illnesses, they have transformed their bodies, they have rejuvenated their bodies. People have transformed their relationships, they've grown their business, they bought another house. You can apply it to anything that you have in your life that is really important to you. But what I would like the listeners to take away from this is that the beauty of it is that when you work with your inner intuition, with the center of your intuition, which is your heart, and you work with technologies through love and happiness and joy, you basically work with these frequencies, which is really the highest frequencies in all the universe. You're already connected to that information field that basically works for you to manifest anything you want. So this is what I'd love the listener to take away. And whatever they manifest it's not going to be anything negative, because when you do something from the goodness of your heart, okay, from the love that comes from your heart, anything that comes to you is just returned with the same intensity. So this is where the wow factor comes in. And this is where the wow factor came in for me when I started feeling that my health was coming back again and my energy levels as well. I was getting such a boost at the time. I didn't know where all this energy was coming from all of a sudden. And it took me a while, believe me, because it is a journey. And I thought, wow, actually, I generated all of that. It's really me. It's not coming from something outside. So it's not coming from a new relationship. It's not coming from the new job. It's not coming from a food that you want to eat. It's not coming from a new dress. It actually comes from yourself.
How did you realize that it was you that was creating that for yourself?
Because because once I started working with these technologies, I was realizing that before working on step 2, which is manifestation, conscious manifestation, I was putting myself in a space of inner calmness, inner joy, which is not the joy like the euphoric joy that you get, when you're sort of jumping up and down, listening to the music. Yeah, it's okay. It can be that. But it's more to do with a place of inner calmness. Okay, so it's that prolonged feeling of inner joy, of inner well-being. And because of that state, I started seeing everything changing around me. I started seeing how people were reacting differently to me. People that maybe with them before I used to have a little bit of squabbles or disagreements or even arguments, all of a sudden they started reacting totally differently. Even situations that before I was really at a loss how to resolve, when I brought myself into this place of inner calmness, of inner joy, all of a sudden I'm seeing that there are people that come to help to resolve the issue, or I'm getting information from someone else to say, oh, the issue is already resolved, or, the problem is already sorted out. So that's when I realized that the inner work that I was doing was changing everything, changing all the settings around me.
Amazing. How were you able to access those states?
So what I do and what I say to my clients or to everyone listening to the show is that you need to start working gently with your heart, okay? Because once you spark the joy from the heart, you start seeing that joy sparkling everywhere. So it is a process, a gentle process, okay? And the way I started doing it is applying the technologies that really resonate with your own unique perception. Some people work really well with sound, some people work really well with images, some people work really well even with colors, or some people just work really well with words, with affirmation. But it's a little bit more than affirmation or colors. It's that ability to spark from your heart center that emotion, that feeling of feeling really happy while you're working with something that actually sparks that feeling. So it could be an image of, I don't know, someone helping you to do something and you feel suddenly really grateful or really happy that you've met that person. It could be when you're holding your child, or it could be when you're working with your client and you think, wow, look at this, I've really helped someone, I've really served someone. And we know really well that there's nothing like helping somebody else, and there's nothing like serving someone else to make you feel like on cloud nine, really. So it's whatever image really works for you. And I do alternate between the techniques that I use, because one day I might use some geometrical shapes like squares or triangles or spheres. Other day I just use words. Other day I just use colors. It really very much depends on what sort of state you're in on the day, or where you are on the planet. Because sometimes when I speak to people on Skype, I prefer to use certain technologies rather than others. But it's very much a multidimensional type of work. So what I mean by multidimensional is each one of us, we create a dimension based on our perspective of things. For instance, you're doing this fantastic show, and because you've created it, you have a certain perspective of it. So you created a certain dimension for it. Whereas myself, I have created a different dimension of the work that you're doing, because it's a different perspective. So for me, for instance, when I think of your show, I think a lot of the purple color. I think a lot of the pink color, and that automatically uplifts me, because that's one of my favorite colors. Maybe for you, when you think of your show, you just think, I don't know, a silvery white light, or you may be thinking of fantastic word that uplift you. So it very much varies on the perception of the person. And like I said, I alternate very much when I work with clients, and I tend to get them to choose what frequency actually feels okay for you, what really works for you. Is it love? Is it happiness? Is it joy? Because it doesn't matter. They all work intrinsically together. What do you prefer to work with? I mean, is it colors? Is it shapes? Is it images of you holding your pet, or, going out to the park with your kids? So it's fantastic. There is never a dull day. And it really gives everybody the opportunity to be as creative as they want to be. Because this is the other thing I want to say to everyone listening. There is no limit to our ability to create new scenarios, new opportunities, and infinite possibilities.
Amazing. Do you know what? I find all of this absolutely fascinating, and I really want to know one thing. What's been the biggest thing that you have used these techniques to manifest into your life?
When you say manifesting in my life, I mean, I don't know where to start, to be honest. I can go with new clients, more clients. I can tell you about manifesting a new property, improving the relationships within my family members, because I do come from a family of really belligerent Italian people who always want to have the last word. And they've always had a really, really troublesome sort of family history. So that has changed as well in the last 2 years. It's been a lot of work. I cannot tell you that, because, when you actually work with your family members, there is obviously an element of attachment there. And that's quite normal. You feel a lot more sensitive than anyone else. But that has been an amazing transformation. And I've also worked with other people's, because I also teach them how to transform their lives, but I also work remotely to use the same techniques so that they can change things without realizing that things are changing. So I've actually helped people change their jobs. I've helped people meeting their partners. The biggest one, obviously, has been my health, and seeing one of my relatives' health actually improving a lot, because my aunt got to the point where she was really at the final stages of life. And now she's sort of up and running. She's going back twice a year to the seaside for her holiday. She's 86 years old.
Wow.
And that has been the biggest transformation. And funny enough, even though she's never really applied directly to clairvoyance, she did say to me last year, I know you did something, because I could feel a surge of energy and a surge of optimism that I've never felt before. And I knew that I was feeling supported, because with this higher consciousness technologies, you do feel the support. So it isn't just coming from you. People shouldn't feel that everything has to come from within them and they're completely isolated. No, there's an entire universe helping you, okay? Because it's the same light. It's the same light of joy and love covering the entire planet, the entire universe, and covering you all over. So we are not alone in this. And the important thing about this is that what you put out, imagine someone who's working on getting a new job or fixing their relationships. Whatever they do, because they come from this space of goodness of their heart, they automatically do it for everybody else. So that fragment of joy that they generate from their heart, it gets put into the global information field for anyone who's listening with their antennas open to pick up and use it as well. And we know as human beings, we're just big antennas, right? We're big receivers, we're big givers. We get flooded with information all the time. I mean, just look at the level of information that we get every day just from our smartphones, televisions, adverts everywhere, people talking around us. So, and imagine what that can do. What if you apply the higher consciousness technologies in a sort of controlled way, in a very calm way, but in a focused way? Imagine what that does. The information goes so much faster and is really precise, because you see, this light of joy and the love that comes from your heart is the light of intelligence. It's a very high level intelligence, and it knows what to do. So people don't have to worry about the how, okay? They just have to focus on what they want to manifest. The how, let the universe worry about the how. Let the love worry about the how. It will be shown to them.
Okay. So, I've heard that before, just focus on what you want and release the how. That's something that I've heard a lot. So in that situation, say somebody wants something,
mm-hmm.
but how do they know what to do to be able to get it? So they're focusing. So imagine now, let's just imagine that Sharon would like to manifest. What should we have for Sharon? Sharon wants to manifest an amazing new relationship. How would she do that?
So Sharon, I would say to Sharon and anyone listening, to focus around the area of your heart. Okay, and if you don't know where that is, that's not a problem. You can put your hand on the center of your chest, or you can tap the center of your chest with your forefinger and your middle finger. Okay, that's where your heart center is. That's where the center of your intuition is. Take a few deep breaths. Okay. And then try and imagine something that has brought you joy or has brought you happiness. It can be anything generating this joy. It can be a beautiful painting. It could be something that someone has done for you for which you feel really grateful. It can be holding your kids or seeing your kids play in the park. A fantastic movie that has inspired you. Anything that sparks your imagination and sparks that feeling that comes from your heart center. And then see this beautiful, bright light coming from the center of your heart. This is the light of joy, the light of love. And then in front of your chest, maybe about 40, 50 centimeters, imagine you have a sphere, bright sphere of silvery white light. That's your sphere of infinite possibilities. All right, and this is where we are going to manifest the perfect relationship for Sharon. So imagine that the light that comes from your heart, the light of infinite joy, is going straight to the sphere in front of her. And is going to connect with that sphere. If there's anything that comes up, any thoughts, any messages that come up, do not ignore them. Any thoughts about, this is hard, or any thoughts about, I don't think I'm good enough for this, I don't think I deserve it. It doesn't matter. Let it go. This is just your heart showing you that the path that you have chosen is the path of manifestation now. And it's just showing you what no longer applies to you. Put these thoughts into the sphere, because the sphere is the sphere of transformation. That sphere is going to transform all your negative perceptions, and it's going to bring you to the level of conscious manifestation. Just bathe in this beautiful light. See if it expands around your body, because you're fully connected now with the manifestation of your goal. Just bathe in it. Just enjoy. See yourself in that beautiful relationship, holding hands, exchanging glances, hugging. The sphere is showing you that the event is already here. You already have it. It's already in the present moment. Just feel happy about it because you already have it.
Wow, that was awesome. Well, I had my eyes closed there. I was doing my own visualizations. that was really, really good. I'm all relaxed now. Do you know what? I'm all relaxed now. I honestly forgot that we were in the middle of a show for a while.
This is just the beginning, actually. This is just the beginning, because this is just one basic technique to get someone centered. But again, I use a lot of techniques because ultimately my goal is to get people to have fun when they manifest things.
Absolutely.
I want people to have fun and to understand that they don't have to come from a place of worry, of a place of fear. Yes, we all have our worries, we all have our fears, but I want to show them that they can get uplifted from within, that they can change the thing. I want to make them feel that they have that power to do it.
So what would you say if they were feeling scared, if they were worried? What do they do with those thoughts as they come in?
I would say it's okay to feel like this, okay? Because it's human, and we have lived with those feelings for not even dozens, but hundreds, thousands of years, okay? Our fathers, before our fathers, our ancestors, before our ancestors, they all lived with the same emotions. They all live with those frequencies. So it's okay. It's okay.
I totally agree with you there. It's just part of the human experience, isn't it?
Exactly.
Without what some people perceive as negative emotions, we wouldn't have the happiness and we wouldn't have all the positive emotions.
No, you're absolutely right. And it's okay to feel like this, okay? And this is really important. We have to say to ourselves, it's okay to feel like this. Yes. It's okay to give myself the permission to feel like this.
Yes.
Because the moment you realize this, you say, okay, great, I give myself permission, and it's okay. And it's okay to feel like this, but now this has served this purpose. Now I feel okay to move forward. So we come obviously from a place of acceptance, okay? And this is, to me, is the most beautiful thing, because once we realize that we are okay with ourselves, things only get better and better.
Yes, love it. Eli, you've been absolutely brilliant. Love it. Now we're going to finish off with a section of the show that we call Get in the Bin. And this is where you get to choose one business practice or idea, anything in the business world that you don't like and that you want to throw in the bin. What's it going to be?
Right, I'm already really giggling just thinking about it, because years ago when I used to hear this thing, it used to scare me so much. And now every time I listen to it, I just giggle, because it used to work, but it no longer works. So, and the thing is, not to criticize anyone, absolutely not, but I still hear a lot of coaches, a lot of health business coaches, a lot of healers saying the same thing to people all the time. You have to get yourself out of the comfort zone in order to get somewhere. Now, years ago, when someone said that, the first thing I thought was, Star Trek. Okay, so I don't know if anyone is a Star Trek fan. The first thing I thought when I heard that comfort zone thing was, you know what, Scotty beat me up, and Mr. Sulu, warp 6, engage, and I just want to get out of here. Because, when someone said to me, you need to get yourself out of the comfort zone in order to do something different or improve your life, I'm thinking, so you're telling me that I have to start feeling uncomfortable? And the thing is, when I started working with clients years ago, I used to say the same thing myself. Mm-hmm. And then I was looking at their faces and I thought, why are they looking so scared now? So what I did is I went to pick up an etymology dictionary, and the word comfort comes from the Latin, and what it means, it actually means the opposite of feeling comfortable. Okay, so the meaning of comfort zone is something comfortable. Only took that meaning around the sort of 17th, 18th century.
Okay.
But before that, it's really interesting, you see. But it never really took out the original information that sit with that word. So the original information, which comes from Latin, means to fortify, to create a barrier, to create a fort around yourself, to protect yourself. Now, why would you protect yourself unless you expect to be attacked? Mm. So the original information, because you see, I work a lot with information, has been retained. So when I still ask clients now, someone said to me, my husband told me that I'm too much in my comfort zone. I ask her clearly and I say, look, what do you feel when someone says that to you? I feel just scared. I just feel like I want to hit the road and go. because it's just a practice that I think is served a purpose at some point, but it no longer serves a purpose. Okay, so what I say to people instead is, in order for you to change, you need to expand the love and the joy from the center of your intuition, which is the center of your heart. And when I say this to people, they go like, yeah, I think I can do that.
Okay, I love it. So, get out of your comfort zone, get in the bin.
Yay!
Awesome. Eli, where can everybody listening go and find out more about you and what you do?
So they can go on Facebook on Light Frequencies UK, or they can browse on my webpage, which is lightfrequencies.co.uk, where they also find the link to my YouTube channel, where I post videos on a weekly basis, and obviously my Facebook page, Light Frequencies UK.
Amazing. You've been an absolute superstar. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I had such a fun time. Thank you.
Awesome. And everybody listening, thank you. And remember, you weren't born to be ordinary. You were born to shine.
Thanks for listening to Business Innovators Radio. To hear all episodes featuring leading industry influencers and trendsetters, visit us online at businessinnovatorsradio.com today.